Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us today on this roundtable where together we will explore the untapped potential of urban mining and how it can pave the way to a circular economy. My name is Jagori, Dhar, and I'm from Drees and Sommer, which is, of course, a leading international real estate consulting company based in the southwest of Germany in Stuttgart. And today I'm joined by a specialist panel, which I can proudly say is pan-European. So without much ado, let's straight cut to them with Michel Moradiellos del Molino from EPA Drees and Sommer. Hello, Michel.
Hello, Jagori.
And then if you're from the Netherlands, a big cheer for the two local lads. We have Michel Baars from New Horizon and Pablo van den Bosch from Madaster. Thank you both for making time for us today.
Thank you.
Thank you. I give 12 points. Oh no, that's not this show. No.
12 points.
Great. So over to you for a short introduction about who you are and what you do.
So for me, yeah,
please.
It's confusing. Well, I'm an entrepreneur. I started New Horizon Urban Mining 6 years ago. So we practice urban mining from demolition of buildings, partly or in total, and provide all kinds of services to get those materials back as building and construction materials to the Dutch real estate companies. So closing the loop.
Yeah. And I'm Michel Moradiellos from Drees and Sommer, EPA, and we are intra-entrepreneur within the company and developing the Cradle approach on the real estate industry and also urban mining, as we will discuss today.
And I'm Pablo van der Bosch, one of the initiators of Madaster, a register for products and materials in the built environment. That's a data platform. So technology, where we want to use that technology to facilitate a circular economy. So the more urban mining, the better, and we hope we can contribute to that. So glad to be around this table with people with the brains, the tools, and also the vision how to do it. So looking forward to your questions and statements, Jagori.
Fantastic. We are very lucky to have such a formidable combination of real estate expertise from across Europe. Now, over the course of the next 25 minutes or so, we will unpack with you the hidden layers that lie underneath our cities and essentially all around a built environment. Now, as we know, at the end of its life cycle, most of building materials make their way to landfills, where they're either destroyed or downcycled into products of much lower value. This results in major loss of priceless materials. So gentlemen, with your expertise, how can we really mine these materials to ensure that much of their value is retained and in the course reduce their adverse impact on the environment and resources?
So as we know all from our expertise, not doing nothing is always better than demolition and reconstruction. But of course, we also need to evolve and to adapt buildings to our new environment and new way of working. So first, we need to identify and to clarify the quantities of materials that we need to conserve, to maintain, to use as much as possible, talk about foundation structure, maybe the envelope. And then we will address the other materials that are related to finishing, partitioning, and proper inventory, identification, information collecting, everything that may also be available, will be available in Madaster, of course, and then the testing and connection with the industry to know which valorization pathway can bring those materials, makes urban mining more clear for projects that we are leading and managing from our own expertise.
Michel?
Yeah, well,
sorry, Pablo.
I fully agree, because when we talk about how to actually mine, I think the real expert who's done this multiple times, not only in concepts or in vision, but in real life, is Michel. So fully agree to listening to Michel. How do you mine, Michel?
Well, I think there's we have to split up into a period after this and a period before this meeting, maybe, or this year, or this decennium. Because of course, well, until from now on, it's clear that we want to develop buildings that are constructed in a way that urban mining is pretty simple in hopefully not earlier than 100 years from now, but maybe in 25 years also. Some materials are coming off, and it must be pretty easy to do, to identify the materials, to see how it's reusable upfront, and of course have a good documentation on all the data. But until now, we of course developed a lot of real estate that isn't engineered on this way, and it's too fast for me to conclude that, well, sorry for that, so we put it in landfill or burn it with and reuse a little bit of the energy. So our urban mining processes are focusing on that, on the part of the real estate that's not built on a circular way, trying to reuse as much as possible from the materials that are in those buildings, and so well, see the buildings as one big stock of material that we are able to upcycle.
Yeah, fantastic. Now, as you explained that upcycling, mining, urban mining, dismantling, all these are extremely physical tasks. Now, Pablo, at Madaster, you add a novel element to it by taking it to an online platform. What do you do with this, and how does it make the process more efficient?
Yeah, so I like the statement that Michel made as well. There is a time before and a time from now on. And just to be very clear, the enormous task we have as a society is to not only focus on the new stuff we create, the urban mind that we have created in a couple of thousands of years. We need to use that, and we need to use that stock. The best way is to not change it, but to keep it as is. But if we have to change it, we should do it in an ideal way. And I think that technology is a no-brainer when we talk about new projects. It is really simple to start registering and creating transparency in the way how we construct and the way how we apply products and materials in our built environment. But technology can also help to clarify where is stock, where is what material available. For new buildings, it's easy. Because then you have it registered. For existing buildings, you don't have that ideal information there yet. To make a proper and a sensible balance between what should you register and to what extent. Because it's a bit foolish to spend a lot of time and money in writing down everything that we already have. We rather spend our time in reusing materials. However, technology can help definitely a bit. And that's what we try to do as well, and so Madaster is registering all new activities easily. That's a no-brainer. And we can help registering existing buildings when there's a unique moment in the life cycle of a building. When it's being bought or sold, and you get information, keep that. When you do maintenance activities, write it down. Do not throw it away for the future, but write down what you have done. And in that way, you can create a better insight in what's where. But we should not make the mistake to say, let's not do nothing with the existing stock and only look at the new stock, because the most important value that we have is in our existing buildings. That's the biggest thing. So we need to include that as well. And Madaster is perfectly fine in registering and connecting data and exchanging data and giving it a value and a price tag in order to facilitate, for instance, marketplaces, or facilitate the calculation of the carbon impact of existing and new buildings. That's what we do.
Absolutely, and people definitely see value in your work. And we have a kind of a breaking news that's coming, that you have already, Madaster, you guys have already entered a partnership with our Dutch location, Drees and Sommer, Netherlands, that now you're going to work together, and our Dutch office based in Sommer, Netherlands is already doing urban mining and infrastructure projects. So there can be some common grounds for you guys to get together and move together for a stronger circular economy.
Fantastic. Yes, that's indeed great news. We're very happy to move forward with Drees and Sommer in Netherlands as well. We look indeed at infrastructure. I think that's a novelty where we're slowly making progress. to make sure that half of all our materials are applied in infrastructure. So that's a good focus, and we're ready to make these moves also together with Rezo. But we also look at existing real estate development projects together with Drees and Sommer. And I think one novelty I can mention is that there's a large asset manager, so an investing company in real estate, that have a large stock of buildings that have asked amongst each other, Drees and Sommer, to start registering their existing stock. And hopefully in such a way that they're not wasting time and money, but they are just registering that in order that the Michel Baars of this world, now and in the future, can work more efficiently and can be contracted more often. Because instead of putting it to the waste, to the landfill, let's indeed start mining.
I would like to suggest a connection here, because to align with Pablo and ask a question to Michel. What's the information that you consider important if we want to register an existing building before going for a demolition deconstruction market tender from let's say a big office building? What will be the information needed also to connect the data with industry, with the manufacturer, or with the types of partnership you have to reuse and to remanufacture those materials? Just to also have an overview of if I am the owner of that building and I don't have a clue, I don't have information, because most of the time we are, our clients, they are owner of buildings, but they don't have any information about the year, the construction, the material, the content. This is also where we can help as a PA. But you as a final, or at least as the deconstructor, what will be the information that you most difficult to find today, or most valuable to trade those materials with, within your business?
Well, that's a good question and a very long answer.
Just a quick one.
Be conscious of time.
The good news is we developed all kind of inspection tools for this. Of course, well, my business case is based on partnerships, so I try to find a partner for doing the inspections for us. I didn't find it yet, so I hope to find it in Drees and Sommer. Not in the least because a few of my old colleagues from search engineering made the move to your company, and I trust them for more than 100% in their capability to do these inspections. So we developed inspection tools, of course, separate them for residential offices and all kind of other real estate combinations. And we not only look into the specific materials, but also the environment of the building and the environment of the materials, the way it's placed. Of course, asbestos is a important part of the data that is needed to create a good demolition plan, urban mining plan. The most important part is that you do not look at the building as is, but you look at the building as what is able, how are we able to reuse these materials in new formats. And my team developed inspection tools managing that. So making the connection to, now it's a wooden door, and it can become 30 more other material flows. Connect that to the Urban Mining Collective partners, so the 25 partners that produce and distribute our materials to the market. So I'm more than willing to share with you those tools and try to work together on this. Of course, we did a lot of inspections ourselves in the past 6 years. So and we structured our data, of course, with 3 universities, Dutch universities. So we also have, we own a data set that is able to make the first impressions. For housing, it's, well, 90% accurate. For offices, less, much more or less. Because, well, for housing, for instance, a social housing, I think it's 40 types of different houses in Holland. We all demolished them several times, so we know exactly what's in there. So we do not need inspections from every house, of course. So you can use the data set also.
Okay.
Yeah, now
Sorry.
Yeah. No, Michel, go ahead, Michel.
Now we had, I wanted to switch to the office sector, and we had this past experience, Michel, in Brussels. I just want to comment with the World Trade Center 1 and 2, and actually now we are doing the number 4 with the same client, but that's a building which does not exist. We need to build it, but for this project, that's the major urban mining operation in Europe. With 2 towers of more than 100,000 square meters, and we visit the building together, and we didn't have the chance to work on that, but we today we valorized 1,200 tons of materials just for reuse on the connection like you are doing with partnership with industry, also with bringing them on site. They take some sampling, they do some tests, and then they take that to the next level of the manufacturer for reuse mostly. But we also are doing upcycling, and we are crushing the concrete, generating recycled aggregates with a very precise process, and reintegrating that aggregates within the new construction on the site. And that's just exciting how from a big amount of materials we have been able to reuse those materials, and it totally changed also the market in Belgium. Now the region is asking to do some similar stuff on any kind of project. We are not allowed anymore to demolish the developer. They are getting crazy because they just want to renovate the office, and they need to keep the same structure. So hopefully they come to us also to help them, and that's really the kind of project that happens in one's life, and then they change everything in the market, and that we see really the impact on the urban mining, at least in Belgium, and also in France and Netherlands, where we had the chance to communicate that to our clients. How do you see, maybe Pablo, the change? Because now we are dealing with investors, and the investor, they are only talking about carbon footprint, about taxonomy, about circular economy or green building certification. They need proofs about what can be done and what will be done on circular economy. Of course, we see Madaster as the final proof for investors. I guess also for the sector of urban mining, accessibility to that information is really the key, the central key to be able to put those materials on the market again.
Yeah, what you see the big task that we have as a society cannot be solved by a single player. So having a smart designer or architect that creates a beautiful new building, what to do with the existing stock? Having only an extremely efficient and smart harvester, like what Michel has been doing, is not enough to make sure that the transition is going on. If only the bankers and investors start to act, we need to take into account all the craftsmen people that can actually build and maintain. And then obviously we have a regulator, we have governments that say what can be done where. So talking to each other frequently and making sure that we're on the same page, that we are aligned, and that we're acting on behalf of the same information is crucial. And I believe that data with the new technology is definitely going to help. But it is also clear that the construction and real estate sector is a sector with many players. It's an enormous economy. There are a lot of interests involved, and making sure that all parties are connected and can benefit from sharing this information is quite a task. And I think that we need to make progress on the obvious places where we can show that there is a benefit, and that we are moving towards that situation, that we're not going to create waste with that what we are building. And I think that is what we all have in mind. That's, I think, the dream of us here sitting around this table, and we should always take that in mind. And we have a different perspective of how we contribute to this market, but I think it's important to stress the overall objective that we want to achieve, knowing that what Michel is doing is not always perfectly for Madaster and vice versa, but that is also a moment in time. That is part of the transition. So exchanging these ideas and concepts and to fine tune and improve the way how we work by working together is, I think, one of the important steps we should make. And from that perspective, having roundtables or sharing these kinds of experiences is very important.
Yeah, interesting point. As you can see, there is a question from the MD of White Star, I think that's the company, on the chat box, and he's interested to find out from you guys, how willing is the market to pay premium for that ready urban mine? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's a great question. And just like in any market, you have the front runners and you have the laggards. And what I see, does not want to be the very first one, but definitely doesn't want to be the last. So what we see is that there definitely is willingness to invest in innovation with a very keen eye in what is the benefit from this learning experience. And we as Madaster are active in a couple of markets around Europe. We see that some markets, like the Dutch market, is already pretty much progressed, where, for instance, the belief that our regulator will make a material passport obligatory, mandatory for new buildings is more or less accepted, and therefore construction companies or designers do not see a material passport as a premium or something additional. They see it as a risk if they are not embracing it. But there are also markets where they say, well, it takes at least another 5 years before we have to treat our waste in a proper way so that it will not be put in landfill, but will be reused. And then I can imagine that there are people that want to change this and want to pay a premium to showcase that it's beneficial, and that there are people that say, I'll wait a while. All in all, but I think that we're here around the table with 3 businesses that all benefit from the transition to a circular economy. And I can pinpoint some of the real estate developers as well that definitely benefit by being a front runner. There a known and famous example in the Netherlands is Edge Technologies, who really are a front runner and who invested a lot in sustainability and circularity and are active. And I think that we all agree that Koen van Oostrom is a pretty smart and successful entrepreneur, not by being the last, but by being the first and investing in it. But every entrepreneur is different. I would like to be part of the front runners.
Absolutely. Now, there's an important element you have mentioned about inspection of material and all the data that you collect. Now, the toxicity element, that's a huge thing. How can, through urban mining, we ensure that the material that's used for future constructions or renovation projects are using healthy materials, and what are the health benefits?
Well, I think it's for us, for my company, it's health and safety is #1 priority. We don't experience a lot of problems on it, to be honest. So of course, in the existing buildings, there is some asbestos materials that has to be removed properly and cannot be upcycled, for instance. But of course, but until now, we focus on providing certified building materials to the market. Not in the least because of, well, we need the market to accept urban mining building materials. And, well, if we don't certify them, we're not going selling them. If the price is 100% more, we're not going to sell them. So we try to sell them for the same price, in the same certificate scheme that is for the new linear building materials. And until now, we don't see any problems. We see a lot of problems with new materials made from reclaimed material. For instance, in Holland we have, in the Netherlands we have the you call it the betonakkoord. The ambition of the concrete industry to step by step use more reclaimed material in their concrete. And we see now some materials flow from Germany, for instance, with a lot of riskful materials that are reused in concrete, just to get to the 5% of reused materials in new concrete. So I think urban mining is not really another issue, or it's not different from making new materials, reusing waste for something.
Yeah, I agree that's related to the industry. I mean, we have to trust the industry when it's properly done, and that's what we do also at EPEA, to connect the manufacturer, the industry, the reclaim and reuse materials. When it's done without any expertise and just doing recycling or reusing because we have to, and we don't have the expert we have today on the table, then it can lead to some damaging processes. That
this is of course
someone providing materials for a school without any expertise or any checks before, just because you want to offer a second life to a certain product. That's the main risk. But when we integrate industry and we trust the market, then that's the process, and that's what you call industrial recycling or upcycling. Then you have a process, qualification, checking, and the end product which will be similar to the new product, has to conform to a certain standard and quality that is expected from those materials on the market. And that's really how we see that. Yeah.
And this is why I think we all work on a system level in the transition to a circular economy, and not focusing on one individual project. Of course, your project in Brussels is iconic, and you need this for first steps in a market. But when you focus on from project to project, then it's not possible to get a good business case and to work on all these system changes that are needed to go from urban mining to new material.
Correct.
So the predictive volume coming from Madaster is relevant. Of course, the analysis of materials coming off buildings is relevant, and the working together with the existing industry is really relevant to get the knowledge and all the systems connecting to each other.
No, it's a system change, and I think that's also the challenge. We truly need to move from unique projects and pilots, which lots of our clients like a lot, because they want to do a pilot, but we need to move to mainstream. Sticking into the pilot phase, even though it's nice from marketing perspective, it's not what our planet deserves. We need to move to mainstream.
Absolutely, and I think the government is behind you. In fact, Netherlands is pushing it, the circular economy transition, faster than the rest of the EU counterparts. And of course, the European Union's Green Deal also calls for a fast transition to circular economy. So we feel that there is these regulatory pressures that would influence decisions in the real estate transactions to move from the linear cycle to a circular economy. Just conscious of the time, guys. Any final thoughts before we wrap this up?
I think we have to go to work.
Yeah, we already speak a lot all together.
And
we'd like to thank everyone to be there.
And no final thoughts, because let's start this system change and keep on thinking. Stop doing pilots, start doing mainstream. So looking forward indeed to get started with people instead of thinking about what could be done. Let's just do it.
Absolutely. So as we discussed today, we got insights into the health benefits, the benefits on the environment, of course, and now with the regulators pushing their focus on this, I think in the future, urban mining is going to be competitive. So we can, guys, can we safely say that we can, with urban mining, envisage a healthier, wealthier, and brighter future?
For
Really
sure.
like that.
Yes.
I really
sure.
like that. Let's conclude on that one.
That's part of the solution. Yes.
Absolutely. We are always the part of the solution, and thanks to the people who joined us and staying with us for 4 extra minutes. We really appreciate your time. I have popped in all the details of a panelist on the chat box in case you want to get in touch with them. We would very much like to hear from you. Until then, stay safe, and we look forward to hearing from you. Bye now.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.